everyone, I'm Zelda Kelly with PsychicSecrets.com, and today is another time for Dark Tales of Zelda. I've got to say this, I've got a lot of them, and someone asked me, well, how do you remember all these cards? I have a book. It's called My Secrets Book, and I have read, and I have written, and I have put down every one of these layouts in this book. And this book is about 30 years old, and I keep adding to it. So we're not going to run out of stories. You're going to see a lot of things going on here at Dark Tales of Zelda. I got to tell you, this one is a good one. So let's get started, and thank you for being here. It's a little on the creepy side. This bothered me. I got to tell you, this one bothered me for a while. And I mean, I don't know why. Things don't really bother me. I can sleep at night most usually. This one, I had a hard time. So let's get started. I had a young lady call me. She was actually started to be a regular client. This young lady was in a custody battle. She went to a practitioner, and it was not a good practitioner that gave her some things to do. We're not even going to go there, but things to do. I told her to be careful of this. She didn't want to. And of course, out of desperation, she did it anyway. That's our first lesson. Don't let desperation make you do things that you shouldn't do because you just feel like you are the one who can change things. And you're not going to give God, Source, the universe, time to move things around the way you need them to be. So be cautious, and especially be cautious of getting someone involved that you don't know their background, you don't know what they're doing, you don't know what it's all for. So when she called me, this is what happened. So she's telling me about this, and definitely she's having some sleepless nights. She didn't know actually, she made good money, had a great job, but her ex lied about her. I know this to be true. I actually verified it, lied about her, and actually gained custody of their son. She ended up having to pay him child support. It was kind of a nightmare for her, but as the years have gone by, they are close again, and they do know, I mean, things have healed. And of course, the child has grown and all is good. But there was this one time. So she needed balance and she needed help. And so my thoughts of giving her peace, and besides, and just for a second, I want to show you something. This Four of Swords, do you see this right here? This P-A-X? That is Latin for peace. She needed peace. She needed understanding. She needed help. So I gave her some scripture to say and to pray upon. And basically, you try to overcome the things that she had been doing because obviously was making things worse. Well, she was brokenhearted. So what did she do? She used this scripture night and day, over, kept asking for help. And there was help that was on the way. And it was because her world had technically fallen apart. The legal system had failed her. But then all she wanted was a reconciliation and a celebration with her son. Well, as time went on and she used this scripture, something else happened. And it came to her swiftly because that is what she needed. And as she told me on the call what had happened, this came out. Now, these combinations of cards do not look very good. Now, this wasn't a physical death that happened, but believe me, it was frightening, and frightening for her. So I got to tell you, this whole thing is and was scary, because what she did was she continued over and over to use this scripture over and over. And she was one of the people that would do things excessively and just obsess with it. So she started saying it this one night. And this one night she heard these footsteps coming down the hall. Now she lived by herself. She heard footsteps. And she thought they were coming down the hall, but she kept hearing it and she kept hearing it. The room was pitch black where she was sleeping, and all of a sudden, out of an outside wall, walked a man. Now this man walked through. He looked like his clothes were disheveled. He did not look like he was clean. He did not look like he was put together. He walked into her room. Now this was a spirit. Walked into her room, walked over to her bed, leaned down over her face, and said in the creepiest voice ever, "What do you want us to do?" Of course, she freaked out, and the covers went over her head. She started screaming. She screamed for her grandmother. That was a horrible time for her. Now, she felt the energy leave. And so I don't know how she slept at night, but she said she slept that night. So she didn't leave well enough alone. She continued to do this. Now, I'm not going to give you the scripture because I don't want anybody doing that, because there are those that will see this and will do it just to try and get something to happen, and that's not how it works. So forgive me for not giving you that scripture. But she didn't leave it alone. So the next night, she did it again, over and over and over. And I told her, look, this was supposed to be, all you have to do is ask once. The Spirit, God, angels hear you. All you have to do is ask once. A repeat of that upsets the natural balance of things. So, but what did she do? In obsessing, she asked again, and that's next night she heard the footsteps again, only they came louder and louder and louder, and she did not see this entity walk through the wall, but he just appeared at the end of her bed, walked to the side of her bed, bent over at the waist, had his face right in hers, just like this, and said, "What is it that you want us to do?" in this creepy, loud, raspy voice. And again, she screams, pulls the covers over her head, and she calls me again, and almost the same cards come out. And I told her, you have to stop now because you are disrupting this flow. So she didn't listen. And the next night, she did this again. And now she heard multiple footsteps. These multiple footsteps of these entities then walk through the wall, come swiftly through, walks through the wall. She was frantic when she called me. Walks through the wall. There were several of them in her room, and they're all looking at her with these eyes that she said penetrated her, just went right through her, and said, "Tell us what you want to do. What do you want us to do?" When she called me, I said, you better stop, because now you're upsetting the realm of things very, very badly. So this went over 3-4 nights. Basically, she forgot to say what it is that she wanted. She just kept asking for help. I need help, I need help, I need help, I need help. Well, what help do you need? You could need help starting your car in the morning. And sometimes when we're asking, so don't forget, if you're using the laws of attraction or anything else, you need to be specific on the help or what you're looking for. And that's what she was not doing. So it confused the whole flow. So finally, she went back the last night and said, I need help through this custody situation. I want to get my son back. The legal system has failed me. I don't know what to do. I don't know where to go. I don't know where to go for help. I've spent thousands of dollars so far. How do I rectify this? Help me rectify the situation. That last night, she heard the footsteps again, but only this time she heard them coming down the hall. And they said, I am. Now, what does that mean? And she asked me. I said, well, that's the word, that's what God said. I am what I am. So meaning she had touched on them to do what it is that she needed to do. About 2.5 weeks later, she called me and said things had just turned around. Her former husband called her and said, look, our son is just too much for me to handle. You've got to take him back. And she did, gladly, gleefully did. Because he was upset with being taken out of the home with the mother. And nobody was even asking him. He was young. So you see how things, there's an example in this, you see how things flow. When you don't ask the right questions, you're going to get a response of possibly entities walking through the wall and asking what you want them to do. It was scary. It bothered me. And it's creepy. Think about this. You see entities walking through the wall, talking to you, and they did not show up glowingly, looking like an angel from heaven, showing up looking disheveled, out of place. So be aware when you call in for help like that. Be aware. And thank you so much for listening. Everything did work out for her eventually, and she learned a very, very hard lesson, and she's not doing it again. I can tell you that. Thanks so much for listening to this Dark Tales of Zelda, and I will see you again next time with more to come. You have a wonderful week, and make sure you sleep tonight. Bye for now. Hello, everyone. Thanks for listening to that very creepy story of Dark Tales, but here's a little bonus content for you. I'm going to do a little reading right for you right now, and let's see. Well, look at this. Oh, I love these cards for you. This, first of all, I want to show you this. Do you see there is a word there? I don't know if I can get that focused. It's P-A-X. That means peace in Latin. This card can represent peace through prayer, peace through strength, peace through meditation. So, this definitely looks like a wonderful time for you. Through your faith, and you see these cards really work out together really well for you, because this is a card of faith and prayer, meditation, balance. This is a card of faith, prayer, meditation, and balance. And this is a card of reconciliation. Now, this reconciliation can be of a relationship, it can be a friendship, it can be family, but it looks like a reconciliation is on the way to you. You've been praying for this for a while. I love this. I got to tell you, this is actually very excellent. And so now I'm going to shuffle, and we're going to get a confirmation card. How about a confirmation card? We're going to cut the deck, and now we're going to ask for a confirmation. And that is, yes, pardon me, there is unfinished business that you have to take care of. And it is connected with coming back, this reconciliation. You see, this knights are the action cards. you're going to be putting some things in motion very, very swiftly. And do you see how his sword goes off the end of the card? It means that there might be something more that you have to take care of, but it's going to be okay. You're going to be okay. And you know what? Let's check at the bottom of the deck. And yes, I love that. This card, this is the Eight of Wands, and this means swift communication coming to you out of the blue. I believe it all ties in. I believe that you are going to get this reconciliation very, very quickly, peacefully. It'll be a happy time. It's going to come in just really like Zoom to you. But this is wonderful, my friends. And I want to thank you so much for watching. And I wish you very well on this. Your peace and a reconciliation are right around the corner. Thanks so much for watching. Enjoy the time, and I'll see you soon. Bye for now.